I've had to do an uncomfortable amount of thinking about my coping strategies this month. Work is stressful, and I've kind of cut out a lot of ways that I used to deal with stress. I tried to get my shopping in control. I tried to get my eating in control. And I didn't actually have a lot of sources of dopamine in my life. Now, I have ADHD, so I'm already lacking in the dopamine department. I have a tendency to do silly things to try and get that little spark of excitement. It's one of the reasons I never really wanted to try drugs, because I know I'd go whole hog into that. And I'm not very good at drinking in moderation either. Last year, trying to cope with stress by eating got me in one of the worst states I've been in, I think, for years, health-wise. And this year, starting in January, as you do, I tried to go on a diet to undo some of the effects of that. But then work stress comes along, and I end up finding joy in restricting, which possibly even worse. I was coping with stress by eating maybe 500 calories a day. Then I got put off work for stress, and I took it to extremes. Some days I wasn't eating. I knew that I desperately needed another source of joy in my life. And at other times I've turned to makeup and doing my hair silly. But neither of them really works in the industry I work in. So you're not allowed to wear makeup, and you're covered in head to toe PPE, or head to thigh at least, with ugly white shoes. Which is why I've decided I desperately need control of something. I desperately need a source of dopamine. So I'm going to turn to dopamine dressing. Basically, dress to bring you joy. If I look back at what I was wearing before I did this, it was pretty much all hand-me-downs from my mum, because she lost weight before me. It did have the advantage that there was a lot of purple to choose from. So I've given myself a new challenge that's not based on losing weight, and it's something that I have complete control over, unlike so many things I was trying to fix at work. Because I am just a little peon there. I've been discovering how to make my own sewing patterns, and I have decided that I'm going to dress only in stuff I make, and I'm going to not use the same basic pattern twice. At the moment, after I've made anything, I generally have at least 3 tweaks that I want to make to it anyway, so that's not too hard. But I am hoping to start experimenting with styles and details and learning how the whole thing works. A big part of me, the part that's desperate to get out of this job just because I'm not good at being an employee, that part of me is wondering if I could try making sewing patterns as a job. Even just as a little bit of a sideline. So if I do have times like this when I just need time to myself, it isn't financially debilitating. I'm also watching a lot of style YouTubers at the moment. I'm finding capsule wardrobes fascinating, partly because so many of them look exactly the same. I haven't owned a white t-shirt in years, and honestly I'm not sure that's going to change. So it would be interesting to see how much I can fall down this rabbit hole still looking like this. I'm going back to work next Monday, hopefully a bit saner. I am feeling a bit less anxious about making everything perfect at work. I'm just going to end up doing loads of beading instead, probably. Gotten into knitting, or you've already seen that, but I'm trying to create my own pattern because I could not find what I wanted, and I figure I'll wear it even if it's terrible, so yeah. But I'm tempted to just leave this in my locker at work and have it there to fiddle with when I just need something. I don't think I've told you what I'm doing. I'm working with supplements and a lot of putting powder into bags. It's not the best job in the world, but I don't think I'm gonna ever have qualifications for a good job, so I'll have to build one. I've been working on sewing a little tiny, teeny, tiny capsule wardrobe of purple stuff. So that's going to be my next video. And I've gone and discovered the hobby of buying wool. But you can get wool in so many colour combinations that you just can't get in jumpers, it seems. So I'm not regretting that. And the Halloween stuff is starting to come out. Something about purple and orange just fills me with joy. And that's kind of the point of this. I'm going to trundle off to the Leicester Hackspace in an hour or so. That's where I was in my last video, and it's quite awesome. Not only do I have access to weird machinery, I am determined to make block printing blocks on the CNC machine, but it's also full of friendly nerds. I can be a bit of a Billy No Mates, because I focus on what I'm doing rather than the people around me, and I'm not good at small talk or just sitting and having a chat. But for some reason, if I'm working on a sewing project and the person next to me is rebuilding a radio or playing with a 3D printer, it feels more easy. Autistic parallel play. I mean, I joke about that, but I do believe we have a decent-sized autistic contingent. I would love to try and bring in more sewing and crafting people. I'm going to try and track down some other nerd groups in Leicester, possibly cosplayers, because that just looks so fun. And I think they'd be my kind of weirdos. But I'm not the most confident of people in new situations. I can usually get myself past that, but it takes work. But yeah, these last few weeks have very much been me learning that I need control of something that is just mine, that I can hyper-focus on and not disturb anyone else. Because getting hung up on efficiency at work, it's not my place, and it probably never will be. Not there. I just need the grace to try and control the things that I do have control over, and to stop trying to steal control away from people who are just trying to do their job. It feels like a big game of status sometimes at work. And I'm not good at the politics. So, I shall turn back to my sewing and knitting, and dressing like a lunatic. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. If you want to see what I'm working on, you can like and subscribe, or just come along and watch the next one.